eyes crawl to a table. Paralyzed by pairwise dice, then attend to this heaven slice of an angel wrapped in skin. Roll dice and woes of life. Love deprived, looking to revive. What's the meaning of life? One subjective paradise. Crystal chandeliers, moments reflected. Often mirrors appear quick, grinning from ear to ear. Craving that raven and grain, rekindle the flame. Closer she draws near. Stay there, remove your underwear, shove it somewhere over there. In paradise, we know our purpose. In paradise, we know what our worth is. In paradise, we manifest dreams. In paradise, truth is what you conceive.
Yes, it is. The truth is what you can see. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of the Unpopular Hour. I'm your host, Matt Clark, and of course, this is Manic Football Monday. Going to be recapping everything because, it is Monday, and it is football, and it is college football. And guess what? Today also, yesterday was actually the official start of basketball season, but tomorrow is today was media day for all the NBA teams, so we're going to talk about that. Talk about the Thunder, of course, and then talk about Jimmy Butler and his latest hairstyles. Or I won't say only his hairstyle, but his latest look. Let's just say his latest look. Last year he had a look, and this year he has a different look. I just don't, you can do whatever you want. You're making millions of dollars. You want to look however you want to look. They look the way they look. And, remember, everything we talk about also is about about clicks and likes. And I have not quite conquered the likes and the clicks. I haven't quite conquered that yet. I just can't say a bunch of stupid stuff. I just can't. It's just not my thing. I leave that up to other people who say stuff. I'd rather deal with people who want to understand, who want to be more knowledgeable, and those who are already knowledgeable and who may disagree with me, but yet know that my opinions are somewhat legit, and they think about it instead of saying he's just a fool, he don't know what the hell he's talking about. No one can ever say that about me. They can say, I disagree with what you're saying, blah, blah, blah. But for me to come out and say a bunch of stupid stuff, I'm not a fan of that. And then, of course, today I am wearing my USA stuff, even though we got smashed in Ryder Cup yesterday, or this weekend. And it started on Friday with, you can't get beat up like that. I don't know if it was because we smashed them 2 years ago that we just assumed that it was going to happen again and we were going to be better than them. They've got, two of the top five or three of the top five golfers in the world. And they just put it on. They just put it on us. Ron was ridiculous. Not sure exactly what Joe LaCava and Rory McIlroy were doing, but if you play golf, you were kind of going, what the hell are you doing, LaCava? Joe LaCava, who was Tiger Woods' former caddy, or I guess he's still caddy, but he's caddy for someone else. And while Rory's putting on the 18, and LaCava's out there with his hat turned on back, with his back to him and stuff. It's like right there while he's trying to line up his putt. It's like, bro, that is the worst decorum ever for somebody. But, of course, he was trying to get into Rory's head, and Rory was not a fan of that. And I was just kind of like, wow, I can't believe you're doing that, bro. So, anyway, well, let's go ahead and just put up the score since it was just brutal. The Europeans took care of business, beating us 16.5 to 11.5, and retaining or taking the cup back to us. And we haven't beat them since, what was it, like 1970-something, since we beat Europe in Europe. And I just didn't agree with who he had on the team this year, and we kind of talked about that. I just don't understand why he picked some of the players that he did pick. But, Zach Johnson, our coach, I just didn't agree with, some of the guys he picked. But, he was the coach, and he can do whatever he wants. And, sometimes I look at teams, and to me, it's like I'm a visual guy, and I look at teams, and I'm thinking, okay, this team's going to work, that team's not going to work, this is going to work, that's not going to work, and you can just kind of look at stuff and go, okay, I don't, putting Brooks Koepka on the team, he went the other way. And you can't mix, and European didn't do what the American did. American, if you went to Live, you stayed the hell with Live. They did not, even though guys were, Sergio Garcia, oh, I'll give you back $700,000, whatever, I'll pay the fine. No, you chose to go play Live, you go over there. And he should have did that to Brooks, and he didn't. And I just don't understand it. Oh, well, we're back together. No, we're not. We're not back together. He left. If you're going to leave, go leave. Bye. It's kind of like the thing where we talk about Spencer Sanders. Spencer left. He wanted to come back, and then he left. Then he didn't want to come back. Whatever. And I'm not a Gundy fan. You guys know that. But at the same time, I agree with him, dude. If you want to leave, bye. I mean, I'm a firm believer as a coach. If you don't want to play for me, get the hell on. If you're a parent and you don't want your kid playing for me, get the hell on. But instead, what parents do? They try to get somebody else to go with them because they're trying to destroy you. But in the end, all they're doing is destroying themselves. All they're doing is destroying their own kids. You look at Trace Ford and what he did. He left OSU to go to OU, and look at what happened. It's just sometimes the grass is not greener. And you should sit back, and once you commit to something, you should commit to it. So that's kind of how I feel. But even though at the same time, with the transfer portal, I do believe that, the case is that if I'm committing to something based on what you told me and the reason why I committed, and then when I find out you lied to me and what you told me was going to happen didn't, then yeah, I should have the freedom to go. But if I went to you and I committed to go there and I just didn't, it didn't work out, or not necessarily work out, but I did not perform or overperform or do everything that on my side, then I should be stuck. Not stuck, but I need to stay and play out my commitment. So your word is your word. So in NFL games yesterday, I tell you, the Rams and the Colts, the Colts gave the Rams all they want. But Nakua, the Rams wide receiver from BYU, I tell you what, this kid is definitely one of the top wide receivers in the league, one of the top 5 right now. Now, is he one of the top five? No, he's one of the top 5 this year in the way he's playing. Now, is anybody going to take him and go, oh, let me go get Nakua over Justin Jefferson or over Chase or over Keenan Allen? No, you're not going to do that. But this year, he's definitely one of the top 5 wide receivers in the NFL. And he's just playing great. And nice win by the Rams. And when they get Cooper Kupp back there, they're going to be a handful. I promise you that. They're going to be a handful. And, the word is, the grapevine is that they may end up with Jonathan Taylor. And if they end up with Jonathan Taylor in the backfield along with Cooper Kupp and Nakua now where they can throw the ball and Matt can get rid of the ball quicker, they're going to be a handful. And I may have to put them in my top 10 as far as my top 10 power rankings. Falcons and the Jaguars, pretty much what I kind of thought was going to happen. In fact, the Jaguars were going to take care of business at home, especially after last week. I knew that they were going to come back and they were going to play better, and they did, winning 23-7. Desmond Ridder still's got some growing to do, but I like me some Bijan Robinson. I like him a lot, and I think he's going to do fantastic. But that being said, the Falcons, they just don't have enough weapons yet. They are building a team, and I still think Desmond Ridder, I like him. He's a good little quarterback, but I don't know if he's necessarily the answer. But they still need some help on the wide receivers are pretty good, but they need one more, I think. They need a better tight end. They need a little bit of help, and on the defensive side as well. Ravens and the Browns, the Ravens just mauled the Browns, and without Deshaun Watson, Browns had zero chance. They have zero. They barely have a chance with Deshaun, but with Deshaun in that defense, he's not necessarily going to turn the ball over. Not really. He usually takes care of the ball pretty well, but he's going to make enough plays with his feet and with his arm that can keep them in the game. And the Ravens just mauled them. I mean, they just beat the brakes off of them. And all this stuff about Lamar being a passer, we haven't seen it. What we basically have seen is the Ravens going back to the Ravens. Lamar running the ball, quarterback draws and stuff, which is what he's great at. Get him rolling and then let him use his arm. But, Lamar is a running quarterback that can throw a little bit. Mahomes is a throwing quarterback that can run a little bit. Jalen Hurts is a running quarterback that can throw better than Lamar can. So that's how you rate those guys. Vikings and the Panthers. Kirk Cousins continues to put up numbers when the game is not on the line, when the game doesn't count. The Panthers, they just don't have enough right now. They really don't. Now, going back with Bryce Young over, oh my God, my mind just went blank. Over the redhead that played forever. I can't even, my mind, Andy Dalton. Uh, going, I think Andy played well enough, but I do understand what the Panthers are doing. The Panthers are saying, hey, listen, we've got this guy. We developed him. We're going to develop him. We're going to go with him. Andy Dalton is definitely a backup quarterback. He's not necessarily a starter. That time is come and gone when he was at Cincinnati, and he's a backup. That's what he is. But you know what? Who's not going to be a backup for $2, $3, $4, $5 million a year? I'd be a backup for $2 or $3, $4 million a year. So, but the Panthers just aren't quite there. Kirk Cousins. I think the Vikings need to move on from him. He was the missing piece they thought to get them over the hump, and he's just not it. Kirk Cousins is mediocre when it comes down to it at the end. If you need him to make a play, you need him in a big situation. He's just not the guy to do that. But like I said before, quarterback, the docu-series, I loved it, and I never was a Kirk Cousins fan, but I am now, after watching that. So, but the Vikings, I just thinking, like I said at the beginning of the year about the Vikings, you won 11 or 12 one-score games last year. That's not going to happen 2 years in a row. It's just not. You're not gonna be things have to go your way. You have to make a play. Somebody has to throw an interception or get a fumble, or you have to have a miraculous catch like Jefferson did against the Bills. I mean, there's things that you have to do in order to win a close game. You got to have Josh Allen fumble in the end zone when he basically has to sneak it out. There's little things like that have got to happen for you to win close games, and those things aren't going to fall your way every year. The Titans and the Bengals, I still say, and I'm just even going to double down and triple down and quadruple down on this. Joe should have stayed out the first 2 games of the year. He should have set those out with that calf. That calf injury is no joke, and it can lead to an Achilles. I can promise you. I've had 2 Achilles surgeries. I can promise you that's what it can lead to. So to me, it's really simple. I think that Joe Burrow should have sat out the first 2 weeks. So what? You went 0-2. You've been 0-2 the last couple of years. You went to the Super Bowl, and you went to back-to-back. You went to back-to-back in AFC Championship games. So what if you start 0-2? I just don't think that's that big of a deal. I think that he should have sat out and gotten better. That's just me on what I think he should have done. He did not do that, which I'm sad for him that he did not do that, because now he's played, he re-aggravated it, and it's just not going to get better. And I tell people, there's a difference between you break a leg or you break something, or you sprain your ankle or high ankle sprain or whatever. That's completely different than a torn muscle or a strained muscle. It's just 2 totally different things, because the torn muscle has to take longer to heal simply because it's a muscle. And all it takes is one little tweak, and then you can't move as well. You can't move laterally. You can't go left. You can't go right. You can't this. You can't that. And Joe Burrow is now a standing target in the pocket. He cannot move. He absolutely cannot move. And so when you look at what the Bengals are now, he's a target. He can't get it out to Jamar Chase. T. Higgins is hurt. So I don't know necessarily what the Bengals are now going to do. I mean, they're struggling. They're absolutely struggling on what they can and cannot do. Titans 27-3 just beat them all up, beat them to hell, and that's what the Titans should do. I mean, take advantage of Joe Burrow because he cannot move, and that's what they should do, and that's what the hell they did. Broncos 31-28 over the Bears. I'm sorry, Bears. You go for it on 4th and 1, and the play that you ran, I don't quite understand what you were doing right there. I'd say kick the field goal, even though your defense has not stopped Russell Wilson. At least you're going to put pressure on them to go down and get 7, or go the length of the field to get a 3-point get a field goal to tie the score. But at least Justin Fields drove you down, had you set up, had you ready to go, and that's what you ended up. That's what you ended up with. I just don't. And then you run it up the gut. I don't really understand what you were doing right there. I really don't. Uh, I really don't understand what that was. I don't know what kind of call you were doing. I don't necessarily know what what can happen. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I mean, you got to me. You give Justin Fields the get him off the hook. Hey, you got us down here. You got us in field goal range. If they missed the field goal, okay, at least he feels good that he got us down there. But instead, you run a up the gut to the back through the middle. Did not get the first down. If he would have did the quarterback read option, he could have kept the ball and ran around the end because Justin Fields is fast enough and strong enough to get you a yard and outrunning the linebacker who are on the outside or the safety at least to try to get to the first down. I think he could have made it. But that is not what you chose to do. And once again, the Bears, I don't know how he still has his job. I don't know how he still has his job. Uberflus, I don't know how he has his job. I just don't. And now the $1 million question is now, do you go ahead and do you keep losing and then you have the option between Caleb Williams and then you'll have the Panthers if they come up to where they should. You could get Caleb Williams and you could get Harrison. Do you do that then? And I just think you got to get a offensive-minded head coach so that you can embrace what Justin Fields does. Justin Fields has some talent, no question. He's big, he's strong, he can throw the ball. Processing-wise, you got to get him out and move him around. You got to get him some hits where he can throw the ball once he gets confidence. It's just like Zach Wilson last night against the Chiefs. You give a guy like that a little confidence, they can play. But you got to give him some confidence. And going forward on 4th and 1, I say you go ahead and you kick the field goal. You move up and you put it on somebody else. And at least you get your quarterback some confidence and let him feel good about himself. And who knows? The defense could have came up with some plays. Russell Wilson could have turned into Russell Wilson last year, could have made a mistake, anything. But no, you didn't even give him the chance. Commanders and Eagles, okay. Eagles win 34-31. And I don't know Ron Rivera. My problem with Ron Rivera is Ron Rivera. The rule is on the road, you go for the win. At home, you play for the tie. I don't understand why he was thinking that. It's no seconds to go. I mean, I understand you're thinking, okay, well, we can possibly win this game in OT. No, you're in Philly. What? No, you scored with 0 seconds. You have all the confidence in the world. I mean, you have all the confidence. Your team has all kind of momentum and confidence right now. And then you say, well, the reason why we didn't go for 2 because the offense was tired. What? So what you're saying is your guys, you as a head coach, did not have your guys physically ready to go for it for 2 points on an extra point conversion to win the game against the Eagles in Philly. That's what you're saying. Once again, I'm not a fan of Ron Rivera. I don't think Ron Rivera should be here. I mean, he needs to be gone. Uberflus for the Bears need to be gone. And we'll talk about Staley. He needs to be gone. I just don't understand how some of these guys still have their jobs. And we're going to talk about somebody else here in a minute as well. But Eagles squeak out one that they should not have. They should have an L right there. But really, your team was tired. Your offense was tired. I can promise you that's not going to play with Magic Johnson. I can promise you he's not going to go for that. And I'm sure Josh Harris, which owns the Sixers, which is a whole nother mess we'll talk about later. So I'm sure that that's not going to fly with him either. Okay? I can promise you that's not going to fly. I just don't. I look at them and I go, what the hell are some of you guys thinking? What the hell are some of you guys thinking? I really don't know what some of these guys are thinking. I really don't. I don't understand what they're thinking. I don't understand how in the world some of these guys are still head coaches. It's unbelievable. Steelers and Texans. Steelers are the only team that has not had a 400-yard passing game. The other teams have at least four in the AFC. Steelers have zero. Now, that says that your offensive coordinator is not the man. He was at LSU quarterback coach, he was at LSU, the offense coordinator, lasted a half a season, he was gone. Now, I understand the Steelers organization, and I understand how they are about family, and I understand how they promote within. I understand all of that, okay? But this guy, they are 20, what were they, 25th, 26th, 27th, 26th twice, 27th once, 28th once in his tenure as offensive coordinator. He ain't the one. And now you lose 30-6 against a rookie quarterback. TJ Watt did not play well. And I listened to Ryan Clark this morning. And Ryan was basically saying, and he played for the Steelers and won a Super Bowl with them. And he was like, these guys look like that they're not there. And the one thing about players in the locker room, we know who can play. We know who's doing their job and who's not doing their job. You can't lie to us. We know. We're there. We're in it. We see it. We know. And if you think the players aren't frustrated with the Steelers offense and with the coordinator, they know exactly what he's doing. They know what he's calling. And you can see that if he doesn't make a change, he's going to lose his team. And you're too early in the season to lose your team. Because if you lose your team now, this is going to be the first time that he does not have a winning season. And Tomlin, you're going to have to, I know that, you're a loyal guy and everybody loves you, but the one thing that you have to do is you're going to have to make a change at offensive coordinator. He's just not the guy. He's just not. You're going to have to do something different. You have a good quarterback who's decent. I don't think your quarterback's the guy either. I was never that big of a fan of Kenny Pickett, even though he showed strides at the end of last year. He clearly did not grow over the summer. Clearly he did not get better. Clearly they didn't. Your offensive coordinator did not help him get better, clearly. Those are facts. Those are just, you can see it in his play and his throwing and what he does. Clearly you can see that. So, Steelers, that's another guy. And I hate saying that people need to get rid of, but it is football, it is basketball, it is sports. And if you aren't productive and you don't do your job, you get let go. That's as a player. When I got cut by the Jazz, got hurt, got cut. That's what it was. Okay, I can't. Now, was I better than the guy who they kept? I've never lost to him. We were high school All-Americans together. I started in front of him. We played on the USA World Team together. I played in front of him. He did not play in front of me. I started. He did not. I played more minutes than him, but at the same time, got to Utah, and he remained after I got hurt, which I'm just going, are you kidding me? But it is what it is. And if you don't do your job, you don't perform, they get rid of you. So I'm thinking, hey, you look at the Commanders, hey, dude, you got to go for it. You should be gone. Broncos, Bears, you on the Bears, kick the field goal to give your quarterback some confidence. Once again, defensive coach with the Steelers dealing with his offensive coordinator. Raiders and Chargers. I think it was it Shannon Sharp or Stephen A. Smith said that Josh McDaniel is an offensive coordinator, not a head coach. They threw a touchdown pass that Devontae Adams caught. And Josh McDaniel, instead of throwing the flag and waiting, he tried to get up there and run a quarterback sneak that did not work. Now, to me, if it was that close and you're looking at it, you're looking up at the screen, why the hell wouldn't you throw the flag, but you think you're going to be cute and run it? Some guys, to me, are coordinators and not head coaches. Head coach is about having a feel of the game, understanding the ebbs and flows. Here's the run coming? When did momentum change? What do I do to change that momentum? Now, Phil Jackson would like to let his players play through that, and I kind of adopted that mentality too. I like to let my players play through it, a run. But now if it's a big run, it's different. If it's, if I'm going from up 8 to down 2, that's different. I'm going to let them play. But if I go from up 8 to down 6, I'm calling a timeout. And I think, Mike Boynton has done a great job, has gotten tons better at that simple thing right there. Changing momentum, knowing when to make moves, knowing when to sub, when not to. And that's just a function of of time and multiple times doing something. So that's just experience. But the Raiders and the Chargers, that was one thing you did right there. I just don't understand it. And then Brandon Staley, once again, going for it again on fourth down. Defense bailed him out 2 games in a row. Uh, Only Philly can do what they do on the quarterback sneak. You can't put it in 1 week and expect it to run it to next week and it to work. It takes multiple times. You can't just, come up with something and, we're going to make it run. No, it doesn't work like that. It takes you time to figure out stuff. And so I just, it takes you, Philly has perfected that wedge play. But your offensive line, the Chargers, is not the offensive line that Philly has. Not the same. You don't have probably what they have, at least 2 NFL Hall of Fame people on the line, and Chargers have what, 0? Don't get it. Cardinals and the Niners. The Niners are just Christian McCaffrey. He's just a monster. He is pretty good. He's pretty good. And they said that they've only lost 1 game with Christian McCaffrey they've lost 2. They lost to the Chiefs and they lost to the Eagles. Those are their 2 losses that they have since they gotten Christian McCaffrey in the midseason trade. And I will say that is probably one of the best midseason trades that has ever happened. Now the Chiefs, of course, got Kadarius Toney, and that's helped them. And that's a whole nother story. We'll get to them in a minute. But the Niners they're just monsters. And Purdy having 1 incompletion on a 40-yard play, and he was mad about it. Yeah, of course, who doesn't want to throw 25, go 24 for 24 or 25 for 25? Who doesn't want to do that? But, with the receivers he's got guys who can catch the ball all over the place. Ayuk, you got McCaffrey, you got Kittle, you got guys all over the place who can catch the ball. Patriots and Cowboys, the Cowboys just Bill Belichick's worst loss ever. The Cowboys just beat the brakes off of them. They just absolutely beat the brakes off of them. That's what they did. They beat the brakes off of the Patriots. It wasn't even close on what they did. It wasn't even close. The Cowboys, but still, to me, Dak Prescott, I don't trust him. That defense scored. If you take away the 2 defensive scores, the score was 24-3. And the problems with the Cowboys in the red zone are still the problem with the Cowboys in the red zone. You've got to score 7. You cannot get 3 points. You've got to score 7. You cannot give up. You can't just score 3. You have to score 7 points. And I just don't know if the Cowboys are capable of doing that with Dak Prescott as their quarterback. I doubt that. And I know my guy Drew Henthorn of Husker Drew picks. I know he's going to, he's a huge Cowboy fan, so I'm sure he's going to be completely against what I just said. Chiefs and the Jets. Chiefs started out 17-0. Now, this is the one thing that I was worried about the Chiefs. When I saw where Travis Kelce was out the night before, when the hell do you go out? Now, he probably does this all the time. We just don't know. Okay, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But he's in New York. He's out. Patrick, I'm sure, was out because they're boys, and they're out hanging out. The night before, they just assumed they were going to kick the Jets, but there's no question about that. They came out strong, and then Jawan Taylor got the penalty in the end zone for the safety. But what people don't realize is, and my problem is to me, I think where it went down is the play before that, Travis Kelce drops a pass to him in the middle that Patrick threw in. That was the first thing, okay? The next play was that. And on that play also, Valdez-Scantling dropped a pass as well. But even though it would have been taken back regardless because of the simple fact of the play, but they may have been able to throw a different play, come up with a different play simply because they would have been 5 yards back. So Travis Kelce drops the pass or drops the ball. Then they run it in the middle. Then that happens on 3rd down. But people don't understand is, to me, when I watched that and I saw him drop that pass, I went, oh, shit, here we go. And to me, it's the little things that make a difference. It's like in the Super Bowl. When they played against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tyreek Hill drops the touchdown pass on the very first drive in the end zone. So now it's 7-3 instead of 7-7. I don't know if people remember that. He dropped the pass. And then on a crucial third down, they hit Travis Kelsey in the hands. He catches it as a first down. He drops it. They get the ball back, come down, score again. And then it was just down from there. So to me, it's the little things that make a difference. And if you watch sports enough and if you're really paying attention, you can see little things that happen to make a difference. And to me, that was a downfall. Because then all of a sudden the Jets come back. They go down the field, kick a field goal. Chiefs throw an interception, which Mahomes throwing off his back foot, not planning. Because if you remember, it was almost the same play, throwing it over the play that he hit Noah Gray. Almost the same tip, floated it over the guys. Just two passes. There's three interceptions that he had or could have had. Two of them for sure were off his back foot where he did not plant. He was leaning back because the offensive line, the defensive line pushed into his face, and he couldn't really step into his throw. Now, that being said, Zach Wilson can't fumble the ball off your knee. And you can see what happened. He catches the ball, and he's stepping back, and his left foot is coming up as he's catching the ball, and his left knee hit the ball. That's how it went out. He didn't drop it. His left knee hit the ball, came out. Chiefs get the ball. Then, of course, the holding penalty. It was holding. Now, did he throw it late? And I'm sure the reason why he threw it late was because I don't think if it would have been intercepted, I don't think he would have thrown it. But because it was intercepted, that's why he threw it. But clearly he held him. It was no question there was a hold. And I was watching Bart Scott this morning. I mean, I don't like the guy. And he is a Chiefs. He's a Mahomes hater. And Bart was a very, very good linebacker. Very good player. But he's a hater. And I'm like, dude, your job, and that's why I turned it off this morning. I'm like, you guys' job is to tell the truth. Now, all three of them were defensive guys. Y'all guys, your job really is not, oh, that was egregious and there wasn't a hold and da-da-da-da. Yeah, it was a hold. It was a hold. It was clearly a hold. And the reason why he threw the flag late is because had there not been an interception, he would not have, the play wouldn't have been called. But he did redirect him because he was going to be there and he twisted him. It was a hold. Stop it. Stop it. That wasn't the cause of the game. Then Mahomes doing what he does to win the games. But that being said, the Chiefs are going to have to get him a wide receiver. They got guys who can't get open. Kadarius Toney can't get open. Sky Moore can't get open. Valdez-Scantling can't get open. Now, when they had Juju last year, he was the difference because they're tripping. They're just saying, okay, Kelsey, we're going to take you out of the game because what we see is if you don't catch the ball, these other guys can't do it. And I think that's where the Chiefs at. You're going to have to go get your wide receiver. You're going to have to get your wide receiver because he's not – these guys you got are not it. Sky Moore's not ready. Valdez-Scantling, no way. And, they're just – I'm sure they're going to maybe get it right at the end. This is only 4 games in. But as I see it right now, these guys can't get open one-on-one. But this is the Jets' defense. So we shall see what happens with the Chiefs next week or if this trend continues and has since game 1. Buccaneers and Saints, let me take my hat off to Baker Mayfield. Even though I don't think Derek Carr should have played yesterday. He clearly is not healthy, and that does not take away from what the Buccaneers did, and Baker Mayfield's been playing really, really well. He still has that little chip on his shoulder being a little man's disease. And so, I still see him doing that. He's just – and I understand they love him in the locker room. I get all that. But, I'm not a fan. Just not a fan. But congratulations to the Buccaneers. Now 3-1, taking complete that conference over in the South. Dolphins and Bills. Bills got physical with the Dolphins, and what did we say? If you cut off the middle of the field, the Dolphins are in trouble because then Tua has to be more accurate throwing it off outside the lines or outside the numbers, and he's not as accurate if you do that. So what the Bills basically did is they weren't letting him manipulate him. They were staying right there in the middle, like, I'm going to stay in my zone. I'm not going to let you move me. I'm going to make you make plays. And Tua couldn't do it. They weren't letting them run all over the field. They were putting their hands on them at the lines, which is what you have to do. You got to be physical with them. The front line was getting to Tua. They weren't allowing him to. They weren't allowing Tua to get to his own spot. They weren't allowing him to do that. They were putting pressure on him, They were sacking him. He hadn't been hit all year long, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that they had skipped 70 last night. And even in his press conference, he said some people needed that. And what he was saying is some people just don't come work hard. They weren't ready to play because of the fact they thought they were better than they were. Reading on press clippings, you go out and everybody's loving you. You're getting free drinks, free food. All the women want you. All the guys want to be your boy. All of that. So yeah, that happens, and they got brought down to life because they got 48 hung on them, and the Bills could have scored more if they really really wanted to. So anyway, Dolphins got brought down to earth. I still didn't have them like some of my guys had them in their power rankings, which we're going to do the new power rankings tomorrow, and we'll have those up. And I already did mine today, but the boys didn't do theirs, so I did not put them up because I didn't want. If they wanted to make some changes, which I'm sure they did. I didn't want to do that. So. Now tonight, Monday Night Football, we only have one game tonight. I like it when it's one game. I don't. Two games are okay. I just prefer one game where I can just watch and focus and get my analysis on one game. Seahawks and the Giants, 7:15 on ABC and ESPN. They're taking the Giants, and I think it's 1.5 now. I think the Giants are plus 1.5 now. Over under 47. I think the Seahawks are going to handle their business, but we shall see. And it's funny, it's back-to-back nights in MetLife. Last night it was the Chiefs and the Jets, and tonight it's the Seahawks and the Giants. The Chiefs and Jets on Sunday Night Football, and the Seahawks and the Giants on Monday Night Football. So they'll change it from green to blue. I don't know if you saw it last night where they had the stadium was primarily all blue last night, and they changed it. They changed it to they'll change it to blue tonight, I'm assuming, or red. I'm sure it's gonna probably be blue, but they'll change it to that. And it was solid green. I like the way that green jet green color is pretty cool looking. Not a Jets fan because like we always say, Jets, Jets, Mets, Clippers. They're all the same. You got basketball, you got football, and you got baseball, basketball, and football. You got all sports. The Jets, Mets, Clippers are those three teams that no matter what they do, something bad always happens to them. I don't know if they have some bad karma looming over them, a dark cloud or whatever, but it seems like always something happens when those teams should go up, like the Clippers were in the bubble, up 3-1 against Denver and lose. I mean, it just blows me away. And like I said, you look at what guys have lost 3-1 leads. Jordan never lost a 3-1 lead. Never. 3-1, it's over. So that's interesting. Those guys who've had 3-point leads or three games to one leads and have lost in sports. We look at Derek Jeter. Remember the Yankees got beat by the Red Sox, which broke my heart, by the way. Still have to listen to Red Sox fans about that. I want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, Collaborative Logic, and my guy, Russell Williford, taking care of me, keeping us up and running, and getting all of my stuff done. I love those people over there, and I love the fact they can remote in, and I don't have to even go down there and see them in person. They can remote in and do a lot of my stuff for me, so I like that. If you have any needs for computers, softwares, or any website design, they can do all of that stuff. SRB, if you have any needs for engineering, surveying, or planning, contact my guy, Mark Long. They love to be behind the scenes to do all the dirty work and do all the stuff to make sure that once the building's laid out, that all your sewage and everything is properly where it's supposed to be. Your sewage, your land, land's not. I don't know why my voice is cracking. Your place won't flood or anything like that. They will have everything set up so everything will run smoothly. Oak Grove Trucking, if you have any needs for dirt work or rocks to be moved, those are your people to holler at. Greg and Max Nafee at NAFCO supporting me as they always do. I appreciate everything that they do. Max and Greg Nafee at NAFCO. YNB, family owned and operated since 1912. They are the bank that makes things happen. They are an equal housing lender and a member of the FDIC. You can pre-qualify online with these guys at www.ynbok.com, or you can go into any of their locations at YNB Main Bank at 401 Elm downtown, Yukon, YNB East, which is off the Parkway and 66 or 39th Expressway, YNB Mustang, 218 North Mustang Road, YNB Parkway, which is off Garth Brooks there just south of I-40, right in front of the hospital, YNB Peoples, 6201 Northwest 23rd between Rockwell and MacArthur. And of course, they are our sponsor for us to go out and support women, minority, and black owned businesses in the Oklahoma City area. And DT Construction and Consulting, if you have any needs for computers, roofing needs, or any kind of construction, whether it's grout, whether it's uh, gutters, or whether it's painting inside or out, consulting on if you want to completely remodel your house inside, they can do all that. So contact Drew Hinthorn at 405-209-4051. They're respectful, local, and loyal. We appreciate them sponsoring us. And also, if you want to email Drew, you can at dtconstruction2015 at outlook.com. That's who they are. Now, in Big 12 football, we had a good weekend, and like it's slowly starting to shape up as far as who the Big 12 teams are. Okay, who are the teams? Who's standing up? Who's going to be good? Who's not? And so we're finally seeing shaping out, and it takes a while. You can't just go because remember, I think at the first it was who was it? Kansas or somebody was at very first. So it takes times. It takes 4 or 5 games once you get into the season. That's just like I said the other day. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen with once the Big 12 actually start playing against each other, which is what they're in the midst of doing that. And the Big 12 scores yesterday, this weekend, Cincinnati lost to BYU. Houston was spanked by Texas Tech, and we talked about that. Houston, they've got a long way to go. Dana Ferguson is, they've got athletes. I don't understand what their issue is down there. They're just not making plays. They can't stop anybody defensively and offensively. They're just, and for an offensive coach not to be able to get his team to score more points, I don't really understand. But your defense cannot give up 49 points. Kansas and Texas, they're pretty good. And of course, the Red River Showdown is this weekend. They're in Dallas, Texas, and remember, Texas just humiliated OU last year. But in all fairness, OU did not have a quarterback at all, so you can't really blame them. They do have a backup now, so if Texas takes him out, they have somebody to step up. Texas 40-14 over Kansas. Now, Jalen Daniels did not play Saturday, so I think that had a difference, and we all were looking forward to seeing how well he was going to play against Texas. That did not happen. Baylor and UCF. UCF blew a big lead. I mean, Baylor is not that good. I just don't know how. It's like UCF got up and then all of a sudden just forgot how to play, and of course missed the field goal at the end to win. Iowa State, OU just steamrolled them. I was laughing about Gabriel. Little dudes crack me up. Him, getting hit going into the end zone and bumped his shoulder into the guy that tackled him, and he's like he did something. I was like, man, really? I mean, dude, just, there's a reason why certain guys aren't going to make it. I mean, it's just, dude, you're a quarterback, and just make the play and move on. If that had been Kyler Murray, he would have just walked away. Now, Baker Mayfield would have did that, no doubt. But Kyler Murray would have just walked away. Jalen Hurts would have just walked away. But this dude and that other dude, those dudes would have did the same thing. They'd have bumped somebody. It's like, dude, what are you doing? He tackled you. Okay. And then he got his sidelines, and he did the same thing to another guy, bumped him. They both just laughed at him, cracked up like, really, bro? Really? They just laughed at him. So when you do that, guys who can play, who are legit, they just laugh at when you do stuff like that. They think you're funny. They think you're a little punk. They think you're a little idiot. That's what they do, and that's why he got laughed at by both of them. They didn't even retaliate. They just laughed at him. So that just goes to show you of what they think of what you did. But the quarterbacks at OU that would have done that, him, Baker Mayfield. Kyler Murray, no. Jalen Hurts, no. That's why both of them have huge 180 million, 200 million, or 180 million. That's why one's making 48 million or 49, and the other one's making 51. And the other one ain't doing nothing. When you play like that, that's what happens. And sorry to make all you OU people mad, but the facts are the facts. Then, of course, shocking, TCU came in losing to West Virginia. I thought TCU was going to handle their business, but they did not. So That leaves us with the Big 12 standings being as such: OU 2-0, Texas 2-0, West Virginia 2-0. And I don't think anybody saw that coming. Figured that Kansas State would be undefeated. I saw that. I knew that they would do that. I just did not expect West Virginia to be up there as one of the top four schools, sitting at 4-1 overall. Remember their first loss of the year at Penn State, and they've been on a roll ever since. BYU 0-1, 3-1 overall. Kansas 1-1. They're not going to win without Jalen Daniels. It's just not going to happen. TCU surprisingly 1-1. I would assume they would be 2-0 as well, because I thought they'd be up there with OU and West Virginia. Iowa State 1-1. I did not expect them to beat OU. I knew they would give OU a tougher time, but OU was ready to play. Did not like the fact of what Iowa State did to them last year, and OU just put their foot on their neck and just squeezed to see their brains pop out the top of their head. Texas Tech, great win for them, 2-3. The Red Raiders are the Red Raiders. It's tough to go to Lubbock and win. It just is. I don't care who you are. I don't care what team it is. They are just tough to beat there in Lubbock, home of Patrick Mahomes. Oklahoma State 0-1, 2-2. They played this Friday night, I believe, is who they played this, and we'll get all that tomorrow. We'll have all the previews of the NFL and college football and all of that. We'll have all that for you guys tomorrow. Anyway, UCF 0-2, surprisingly 3-2 overall. Cincinnati 0-2, Houston 0-2. All three of these teams I did not expect these guys first year in conference to be 0-2. But you change conferences, different teams. You don't know what to look for and what to expect. So there is a learning curve that you got to kind of go through for that. So we shall see what's going to happen with that. So I will say this. I was looking at college football. I was looking at the AP. And it's just weird how it just, top 25, the AP top 25. And it's weird how it just bounces back and forth from team to team. When you look at Georgia and Michigan, Georgia, they barely escaped. I just don't see them as the overwhelming favorite like they were last year and the year before. They were just outrageously good. And a lot of those guys left who didn't get a chance to play. They went and played somewhere else where they are playing and contributing, even though they would have got their chance this year. With the transfer portal, why do I wait? I can go somewhere else and play. And I'd be the same way. Why would I sit on the bench when I can go somewhere else and play? Texas is sitting there at number 3. And that's why the Red River Shootout is back to old days where Texas and OU are both ranked high. OU is ranked 12th, Texas ranked 3rd. And like I said, we'll go over a little bit more all week about what's going to happen. And that, of course, I will be in Texas this weekend to see that. Ohio State, number 4. Florida State, 5. I still like the Seminoles. And then, their quarterback, I really like him a lot. In fact, tomorrow we'll do the same thing. I'll go over the top 10 college quarterbacks. We'll do that tomorrow. That'd be a nice little feature that we can do tomorrow. Since, let me see, I've got 1, 2, 3 of these guys. Let me see, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the top 10 guys we have as our quarterback. 7 of these: Notre Dame's quarterback, USC's quarterback, Oregon's quarterback, Washington's quarterback, Michigan's quarterback, and Texas' quarterback, and Florida State. So that means we only have Georgia and Ohio State and Penn State. So 7 of the 10 we do have in our top 10 quarterbacks. Alabama, number 11th. I think they're sneaky. They're getting better and better. I think they are definitely going to be one of the top 10s now. Next year, when they come in, when you do the expansion, that's going to be great because I'd like to see these 12. I'd really, really like to see these 12. Now, of course, Washington, USC, and Oregon, one of those 3 teams, they're all not going to be there. They wouldn't be there. But this year it would be great. This would be a nice 12. I would like to see, of course, the top 4, Georgia, Michigan, Texas, and Ohio State. We wouldn't have to worry about it because all 4 of those get a bye, and then everybody else would have to play each other. So as it would stand now, it would be 5 against 12. So it'd be Florida State against OU, Penn State against Alabama, Washington against Notre Dame, and Oregon and USC would have to play each other again. Boy, I mean, I would love, love, love to see that. Number 13, Washington State. UNC at 14, Oregon State at 15. Look at all those Pac-12 teams being in there. They've got, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 teams in the top 15. That's pretty good. Ole Miss at 16, Miami 17, Utah 18. Utah again is another Pac-10 team. Future Big 12. Excuse me, they're not Big 12. They're going to, I don't know where Utah is going. Duke, Kentucky, Michigan, Missouri, Tech, Tennessee, LSU, Fresno State, and Louisville. So, I mean, I cannot wait to see how that happens. Now, like I said earlier at the top of the show, it is basketball season. And the Thunder, everybody's media day was today. And we'll get into NBA news and all that here in a minute and Jimmy Butler. But my question of the day is, when I saw this, I was like, I have to ask you guys as well. Here's my question of the day. The photo of the left is Jimmy Butler last year at Media Day when he added his extensions in there, which I just kind of laughed. It was funny because everybody knows Jimmy Butler don't even remotely have hair like that. And I think it's funny. Even when all these football players have extensions, it's just, I mean, are you a man or a woman? Why you have extensions? It's pretty funny to me that they do that. And then here's Jimmy Butler on the right today. What is Jimmy Butler trying to say? Now, of course, last year that's his emo, and this year's his emo. He goes, I'm in my emo. Now, I'm sure Jimmy Butler is not going to do this all year with his hair straight like that. He will be, I can't even imagine the stuff that will be said about him, but he's got his eyebrow pierced, he's got his nose pierced, he's got both lips pierced, or he's got his lips pierced, and he has on black nail polish. And he showed up at an event in a long black leather coat with black shoes in Miami. Like, you have a long black leather coat on in Miami. That's how he showed up today for the media. And I'm just going, I know these guys are making a lot of money. And I know they can dress and do whatever the hell they want. I can't say what someone looks like or what they want to do or whatever. That's completely up to them. But, Jimmy, what the hell are you trying to say? The straight hair, I'm not an emo guy, so I know they do all kinds of different stuff. But, bro, you're in the NBA, and I know that a lot of fans are just, you're, like I said, likes and clicks. Likes and clicks. That's what everybody wants. And, including me, too. But the difference is I want likes and clicks from people who are knowledgeable and they want to learn about sports, and they want to know about sports, and they want to get better. That's who I want my audience to be, because that way you can have decent conversations instead of I just saw this. I was like, I don't even know what to say. And I could just have, I was expecting my guys to be on today, High Stick Harry on and Nathan, but those guys can't make it on, so, and Drew Hinthorn as well, so I don't really know what to say about that. In Thunder news, though, here is a picture of our starting five. And Nathan Taylor and I will be on after the storm, which I cannot wait for. And remember, here in the next few weeks, probably maybe the 1st of November or sometime at the end of this month, we will be on doing a podcast, and the show will be on a podcast. So I don't know if we're going to be on every day again, or we're just going to do a podcast and, or have our podcast on every day. I don't know if we're going to actually be on live and then have it on podcast too. So we're just trying to figure out exactly how I'm going to do that. But anyway, Nathan Taylor and I were trying to figure out who the starting five was going to be, and we looked at it. We had SGA, Josh, Dort, Chet, and J-Dub. And we're wondering if J-Dub was going to come off the bench and keep in J-Will. But looks like this is a good starting five. And it's just funny how Josh and Chet were at the OU game together. And Chet and Josh are buddies, and they're hanging out together all the time. And, of course, Chet understands his future is locked to Josh. And like I've said many, many times, I don't want Josh to go back to be a pass first guy, shoot second guy later. The Thunder are not going to be the team we need them to be if Josh is looking to keep Chet scoring and make Chet this and that. If Chet's trying to talk Josh into that and Josh is listening, we're going to be in trouble. We will not make the playoffs and do what we need to do if that's the case. Chet needs to be 12 to 14 points a game. Josh needs to be at around 20 points a game. And Josh needs to be our second or third leading scorer. Chet needs to be the fourth. If that role is reversed, the Thunder are in a lot of trouble, I can promise you, because when we need Josh to make plays, he's going to make a pass. It's going to get intercepted. You guys remember how that used to look, right? When Josh was a pass-first guy. You remember how it used to look where he would throw the ball away. So, we can't allow Josh to do that. Now, I liked what I do, and remember, Monday night, a week from today, is the first Thunder preseason game there in Paycom. And I will be there watching the game. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly whether we're going to do the show or not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be watching I'm going to watch the game, and depending on how much the guys play, it will determine on where I watch. Because I usually don't do preseason games because I'm really not interested in preseason games. I'm more interested in season, what we look like during the season. Okay, so we're not sure exactly how we're going to do that. So, NBA news, however, James Harden was a no-show for the Sixers media day. What a shock, And I was reading some stuff online, and people were talking about how they didn't understand, why James Harden opted in. James Harden opted into that $35 million because nobody's going to pay him that. That's why he opted into his contract, fully knowing that he was not going to play with the Sixers. And what the NBA is showing you, since they sent Dame, and that's another reason why Jimmy was doing that. That may have been his way of telling us he wasn't happy that Dame was going to Milwaukee. But if I'm Dame and I'm seeing Jimmy look like that, I'm going to Milwaukee too. I know my chance, even though South Beach is wonderful. But anyway, Harden opted in because nobody's going to pay him that much money. He's a shell of his former self. And if he hadn't opted in, he was not going to get $35 million because he looked at what happened to Russell and everybody else. He's on the decline, and they know that they're not going to give him, nobody's giving him a max deal. Nobody's giving him $50 million for the next, $200 million for the next 5 years. You got your $200 million from Adidas, and you've gotten your 200, whatever, 30, $300 million or whatever from the NBA over your career. So, and I'm sure he's saved it or he's doing good about it. But, he flies to Paris. He does whatever he wants. And, he's got all his boys with him. And, what the problem is with all that is you keep having all your boys around you like that all the time. Eventually, your money's going to run dry because you're only 34 years old, 35 years old, whatever he is. And you're still young. You still have another 30 years to live off that money. And if you're going to be living like you're making that amount of money a year, your money's going to run out, which is what happens to most athletes. And you learn the lesson of Shaq, learn the lesson of Kobe, learn the lesson of Magic, learn the lesson of a lot of these guys. Go out and invest your money, Steph Curry. Go out and invest your money in stuff that's going to pay you residual income. You don't need to hang around with your boys all the time, but, James likes to do what he likes to do. And then on the other side of that, you look at their arch rivals, the Celtics. What did the Celtics do? They added Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday. Who did they get rid of? Marcus Smart, Robert Williams, Malcolm Brogdon, and Grant Williams. And when I look at that, I'm going, okay, this is what they got rid of. And I think the only thing on there is going to really, really hurt them. Now they got Drew. And when that trade happened, I said that Drew's the best place for him to be the Celtics, because now all of a sudden I think we talked about it on Friday. To me, Drew goes there. The Celtics now have a strong. You've got Marcus Smart's replacement, but he can score consistently. Marcus can score, but I'm talking about consistently. He can knock down the shots. He can go for 35, multiple times. He's averaging 20 points a game. So now you've got, Marcus Smart averaging, you got Tatum, Brown both averaging 20. Kristaps Porzingis averaged 20, and now Drew Holiday is averaging 19. So you got you a nice squad right there. You got 4 guys averaging basically 20 points a game. So the Celtics are going to be, and Dana White averaged, 14, 16 a game. So you got 5 guys that can score, and that's what the Thunder need. They need that one guy, which we have with them. We got SGA who can score 30 points a game. You got your other 2 guys who can get you 20 or close to it, which is J-Dub and Josh. That's what you got. Then you got your Chet in there, who's not quite Porzingis as far as scoring ability yet. Could be. But you got him in there coming in. Then you got your Lou Dort, and that's your five right there. So you can kind of do the same thing the Celtics are doing with the Thunder, so we shall see how that works. But you can look at what the Celtics did. Great movement by them. Portland, however, they had addition to Drew Holiday and got rid of him, traded, which, of course, that's what they were going to do. Damian Lillard, got rid of Damian, and they added DeAndre Ayton and Brogdon. So they added somebody who can, run the point as a backup, come off the bench, Brogdon, who can still shoot it, DeAndre Ayton, because that can help them. Even they got rid of, I forgot my man's name. This is now at he's at the Suns, their former center, but they got more athletic, so they're young, fast, athletic. So I like what they've done here in Portland, but what they also did, they added a bunch of draft picks. So the GM is taking the Sam Presti view. Let me give me a bunch of young players, let me build up a team, and then give me a bunch of draft picks, which is basically what they have done there in Portland. So we'll see if they can keep up with the Thunder. Now, when you look at what they have, what Portland has as far as what the Thunder has, is young players, like I said. On the front part of it, the Thunder have the Portland has the advantage over the Thunder as far as their core, their front part. The bench part, they have the advantage over the Thunder. Excuse me, the Thunder has the advantage over Portland when it comes off the bench with the multiple players that we have. So we have the advantage there. And when you look at that part, yeah, you're pulling picks and you're doing that. But the Thunder and Portland are both very young. Now, the question is, would you rather have DeAndre Ayton or Chet? Okay, those are your two centers. Would you rather have Jeremy Grant or would you rather have J-Dub? And then after that, you got Scoot and I can't think of my man's name. I was just talking about him. Anthony Simons, you got both of them, and you got Shaden Sharp. So those are your three. So would you rather have those three or would you rather have Dort and Jeremy Grant, or would you rather have Josh, J-Dub, and SGA, or would you rather have Anthony Simons, Scoot Henderson, and Shaden Sharp? That's your question. Now, I'd rather have SGA because SGA is better than anybody they got on their team. So that's just me on how I would look at it. But at the same time, it's going to be really, 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 really close when you do that. So, but when you look at our Thunder roster, I love what we have. I love what Sam has put together. And here's our roster. You've got SGA and Trey. I think Trey is going to be gone. Kaysen and then Micic. And so I got that right. Micic, you got him in there. And we're going to see what he can really do. But then you also you still have Victor Oladipo. He's still there. And remember, Victor was here before with Russell, and they didn't mesh at all. Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, Isaiah Joe. So, our guards match up with them pretty well. And especially when coming off the bench, we definitely have an advantage over Portland when it comes to bench. Now, small forwards, you got J-Dub and Wiggins. Both of those are fantastic. Jack White, and we'll see Caleb McConnell. He's just young. Lindy White is in. And then Yang is still growing. So you have J-Dub and Aaron Wiggins. Both of those are A players. And then Usman Jang is, like I said, this year is going to be my really judge of him because he grew quite a bit from last year to this year over the summer of what I've seen. So he's just thin and weak. He's still got to be stronger. So we'll see how that works. Power forwards, Poku, of course, is hurt. Kendrick Williams, he's okay with me. Jeremiah Robinson Earl, he's just not the guy he used to be. And then, of course, centers, Chet Holmgren, Jay Will, Davis Bertans, who is quite serviceable, and then Olivier Sarr as our backup when we need a big on a big. So especially when we play Milwaukee, you got to have somebody that's big enough. I think J-Dub can push Lopez around, but Olivier Sarr can at least match him height for height, and he's definitely way more athletic than him and could give him a little bit more issues. So that's kind of what I've got for today's show. And like I said, I want to thank all you guys and thank our sponsors again for their support of the show and appreciate them. And I want everybody to have a fantastic day and enjoy their Monday. And remember, Monday Night Football tonight, so be able to do that and enjoy it. Hey, go find your nice patio somewhere, sit out there, enjoy the weather, and stay out of trouble.